All right, I've got another handprint I want to show you today, which is an extraordinarily unusual hand to see. And that is a hand where the index finger is longer than the middle finger. I've got a couple of photographs of it here. I'm going to show this to you so you can see that. It's in both hands. It's the hand of a young woman about 14 years of age, and the photographs were taken by her foster parent, who sent them through to me for my comment, because it's really, really unusual to see an index finger that's so long. I've never seen one as long as that. And so I decided to share that with other hand readers, and I thought I'd give that back to you to sort of see what they said and give you some feedback on that. And then we basically wrote some different things, and then we all made some commentary about it. Because when you see something like this, because it's so unusual, we actually don't really know what it signifies, because you don't have any basis for making comparisons. We've only got the kind of general ideas and principles that we understand about the fingers. But it's really, really unusual to see a water finger that's so long. Except we do know one thing. We do know that when the finger balances are out of proportion, we know that that's the kind of thing that happens in severe psychological conditions. Charlotte Wolfe investigated the hands of schizophrenics in psychiatric institutions when she was doing her research work. And the abnormal digital formula was something that she did find to occur in the hands of schizophrenics, although I believe that was more a longer ring finger than a long index finger. Nonetheless, we only see very abnormal finger formations in people who've got something not quite right with them, and that has to be the case here as well. But it's not for us to say that at this time to her stepmother, her foster mother. So what I said was, this is what I said about this hand. I said, long water finger, she makes her very introverted and self-absorbed, very self-preoccupied and concerned with her own little world. And that's always true when the water finger's long. The index finger being long is a self-preoccupation, and it gives a sort of always wrapped up in oneself and how you feel and what's going on for you. And it gives a kind of self-importance. And the trouble is, of course, when you've got a long water finger like that, you want to control everything. But she's only 14, so she doesn't have much in her life that she can control. So probably she spends a lot of time on parts of the world that she thinks she can control, such as the phone and spending all the time on the phone. But other than that, she will be bossy, uncooperative, controlling, demanding having things her way. And that's what it's always like when you've got a long index finger. Long index fingers are always very bossy. She expects to be served and looked after, and basically to others to prominence her. And the foster mother wrote back, I agree with everything that's written here. And basically, she's bossy, uncooperative, and controlling. Yep, that's a very true statement. She's been like that since I met her at 2.5 years of age. Those tendencies are still there, but more age appropriate now. As a young child, she craved attention from anyone and would do anything to get it. And I think that's kind of what is indicative of this particular formation. It's like it's a very self-prominancing feature when you get such a long index finger like that. What I said to her is, I said, well, this isn't a phase. This is not just like a typical 14-year-old going through a particular phase in their life. This is pathological, and I suspect this behavior is going to continue even when she's matured and grown up. So another hand-reader colleague, she said, well, I feel like I want to save this girl from herself. She wants to control everything, and yet her age isn't able to control much. I feel concerned that she could develop an eating disorder, which is something that she can control. The long base of the water finger, puffy phalanges. Do we know if there are any thyroid issues? She might have compulsive tendencies. I hope she channels it. She doubts herself, and I hope she channels it into sport instead of self-harm. She's got a very secretive waterline, so she presents a false or incomplete image. So the foster mother said, well, I agree with everything here as well. Having had an eating disorder myself, I do want this to be something that she might pick up on. She's concerned about her looks, and she's concerned about being controlled. She's very self-absorbed. All right. Okay, and then another one of these interesting ways to look at this also is to look at it in terms of the middle finger. So when you get that, obviously the strength of the water finger also shows that the earth finger, the middle finger, is also very weak. Here, the water finger is totally dominant. This is another hand reader. It's the largest part of her psychology, overpowering her relationship to authorities and structures, the structures of the family or parents. Her views dominate. Her need to express her vision dominates. Her sense of who she is more important than everything. This will both make her more self-centered and self-referential. There's very little here to steady her in her life. Her self-obsession will be crippling at times, extreme highs and lows of self-esteem. Her need to control everything will be a major part of her psychology. She thinks she's responsible for everything. She may judge other people by the same harsh measures and being super critical of others, and she may not tolerate people who don't agree with her. She may not have any regard for the rules or laws and will just do things her way, and be kept in check only by the fear of imperfection. And this one, the foster mother said, yes, yes, yes. She has fallen out with one set of grandparents. She's very disrespectful. She won't apologize. Her sense of self, who she is, plays out in everything. Past abandonment plays a lot in this area, and the need to control is definitely part of her psychology. Yes, she does judge others, and she's super critical of others. It's like it's ingrained in her. So these are just the feedback that the foster mother gave to us regarding this young woman, and she was very appreciative of our comments, because she's obviously, this is an extreme case, and she thought she was having a real difficult time with this young woman, and clearly this is a difficult person to have around you, and it's very difficult for this person herself when you've got a water finger that's so long like that. So what can we conclude from that? Well, a really long water finger like this exaggerates the qualities that we know you're going to find in a water finger. So controlling, bossy, self-centered, self-preoccupied, disrespectful, self-prominancing, wanting attention for oneself. It's all about the sense of self. It's all about the sense of self-identity. And at the same time as there's a kind of full of themselves, there's also this very strong critical nature as well, because those two things go together. So basically self-absorbed, self-preoccupied, and concerned with our own little world. And it's going to be a difficult, challenging life for this woman. She may well end up with eating disorders. She may well end up being very introverted and agoraphobic, I would suspect, as well. And desiring to control the world, she may not want to leave the home or get out of the house, because it's a big chaotic world out there, and there's little that she can control. But an interesting example nonetheless, even though it's so extreme. And as always within psychology, and it's true in cardiology too, it's the extremes and the abnormal that give us an understanding of the normal.